hour, 10 to 11 to 12. So, there's something you want to ask?
You ventured to the Himalayas when you were 19. You were fortunate enough to find your guru, and you learned a lot and you came back. For the rest of us, what do we do?
You don't have to go to the Himalayas. You can learn things even while here. Because I went for a special purpose. If you know the fire burns, you don't have to put your finger to burn. So you don't have to go to the Himalayas. But you should learn just to investigate into this thing about are we satisfied with ourselves? Or we need to look for something else? Are we happy with what we do? Or is there some time in the mind there is this thought that there might be something beyond, or that we need to investigate? See, that's a good starting point. You need not go to the Himalayas. Yeah, having said that, occasionally it's a good idea to go have some solitude. And then for solitude, if the Himalayas appeals to you, then it's a good idea to go sometimes and spend some time. Basically what you need is solitude so that you can think for yourself and try to figure out. And in the ultimate sense, also think of how to be free of this constant thinking. From the time we are born till the time we die, the mind keeps chattering constantly. Something or the other it chatters. Is there some way to be free of this vicious cycle of chattering? This is also something which, for that you need some solitude, because caught up in the middle of everything, you probably won't be able to figure this out. Provided you really want to. That's a different And what's your name?
Ajit Bali.
Ajit. What are you doing?
I'm a banker. I just graduated out of school last year. Finished my MBA.
Where are you working?
In Manhattan. It's a small boutique investment bank.
Investment. So, you're beginning to think if you should invest in things more than banks?
Oh, I've always known I need to invest in things more than banks and material things.
Very good.
Fortunately, my family, we were blessed to have a guru when I was really young, Shirdi Saibaba. And
where from?
My guru? Or
no, where is this?
From Allahabad.
India?
Yeah, he was from Allahabad. But I was very young when he passed away. I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And even though we have his photo everywhere after London, we do meditate. It is tough, you know.
Of course it's tough.
It is difficult not just to meditate, but also to find your own path.
Absolutely.
Without, I wouldn't say without any guidance, but without constant guidance.
I agree with you. But the thing is, one is prepared to search. I'm saying that there are no shortcuts. It's a serious search. If somebody offers a shortcut, there's something wrong with it. It's also quite unjustifiable that somebody has a shortcut and others can't. It's not true. So, it's good, I'm glad. How old are you? 20. 20?
8.
My son's age.
What are the practical and necessary aspects of one's spiritual journey? How do we?
First, there should be this urge for a spiritual journey. You know, spiritual journey should not be misunderstood for how to get a promotion, how to have a baby, or anything else that we see in this world. The spiritual urge comes when you have seen all this. decided there must be something more than this. At least you can say, could be something. I believe in that. You don't have to accept. You need to think. So, is it possible there's something other than this world where constantly there is this competition all the time and you want to become because somebody else wants to become bigger than you. This is what is competition all about. And finally, death. So there are some people who think about this, some who just carry on with the way. Okay, let it be, everybody is being born, everybody is dying, so what, and so on. That's one way of thinking. There's others who give respect to what great teachers have said and say, oh, perhaps there is some truth, there may be something beyond. And that beyond may be found in us also. It need not necessarily be far away. Somebody defined it as, it is nearer to you than your own jugular vein. So, the search begins there. And then, once that is very serious, and you say this is the most important thing I can find, because you look at everybody's life, please, I'm not trying to paint a bleak picture of life, I'm just giving you the facts. I'm never bleak, I'm always happy, so I'm not very happy. You take anybody's life. Somebody is born poor, he works very hard, he becomes rich, he's this, he's that. But you keep asking, and then what? Then he died. Another guy was very rich, he lost everything, he became a pauper, he became a drunkard, he fell in the gutter, and then he died. So somebody became Napoleon and died. Somebody became Trump and died. So this seems to be a common factor. So is life just some kind of nonsense? When you are born, do something, then you die and everything is fiction. So when you begin to think about it, you wonder if there's something other than that. You wonder at least. So therefore that's the time when the search starts. And if you start a search at that point, then it will be a very serious search. Otherwise, you might be practicing something to relieve stress. Or one gentleman was here who said in the morning, you do a lot of breathing and your brain is tired of oxygen, therefore you may feel nice. So what? So, this is the search. So how do we go about it? Now, from the ancient times, people have given some regulations and rules to follow. Those who are seriously inclined to find this out. You don't have to say what, because we haven't found out. One is that these things go together. Your daily life and your practice. You have to change your daily life also. Because, if I say that I'll remain the same person, I'll do what I've been continuously doing. I'll throw stones on the other guy's window. And then I want to be spiritual. It won't work. So, in fact, you can't even meditate with an agitated mind. You need to calm it down to be able to meditate. So therefore, your way of life should be in such a way that you make some improvement in your daily life. One of them is try as far as possible. I'm saying far as possible because in this world it's sometimes very difficult. Try as far as possible to stick to the truth. In daily life, not that truth. Otherwise it's a contradiction. 24 hours, day in and day out, I keep lying. I lead a false life and I'm looking for the truth, universal truth. This doesn't work. So, first make a change out there. Second, try as far as you can not to cause injury to other living beings. Injury need not only mean physical, also through words, through thought. This is also not easy. I'm only saying we should try our best. Not to when I say not cause injury to living beings, please include human beings in it. also, not only other living beings. These two things go side by side in your daily life. You keep watching and practicing. You also need to reserve a little bit of time where you can be alone and not be bothered by others. You can sit down and contemplate. Connect yourself with that which is connected to the inside, to the heart. So you should find some time to do that. And that, when you find the time, you should be absolutely certain that you will not use this time for anything else. It's not as if today I didn't meditate. Why? Because I had to take the dog for a walk. Today I didn't meditate. Why? Because I had to play badminton. Take it to be more serious than your goal.
Is Brahma Muhurtha considered the best time to begin with meditation?
Brahma Muhurtha is a word used to indicate a good time for meditation. So, it is in Sanskrit, so it appears to be something exotic, but it simply means a good time. Now, according to the scriptures, the Vedic scriptures, Brahma Muhurtha starts at 3:30 in the morning. Now, what I am saying is, don't suddenly try to go to extremes. Start in the morning at dawn, like 5:36 is a good time. And then sit down, and because life is just not started yet, still inside. And noise has not yet started coming in full strength. So during that time, prepare your mind to face the world. So whatever you are doing, pray or meditate, keep morning times are good. You need not wake up at 3:30 in the morning, at least for now, because then that might interfere with your daily life activities. Early morning, as early as you can. That means what? Sleep early. Otherwise you can't wake up early in the morning. Which means what? Most parties are out.
Does that mean you wake up in the morning, take a shower, and then meditate?
You may take a shower, you may not take a shower, it's okay. But brush your teeth, wash your face, go to the toilet. You can have a party and sit down.
I remember that experience you mentioned in the chapter when you met your guru about whether to take shower or whether not to take shower. You were contemplating.
I thought that all yogis must have a dip in the Ganga in the morning.
Right.
It was so cold. Babaji told me, I thought I'm going to make you into a yogi. I think you're turning into a Buddha. Because this is not a time to take a dip there. It's so cold, you freeze. So he said 11:30, 12 before lunch you can have a dip before you eat. So it's not. What I'm saying is don't carry things to the extreme. There has to be a moderation. But you must find a time. If you're serious about it, you must find a time. See, what happens is, in us, the Hindu system of thought, culture is so varied, and there are so many inputs, and it's so fluid, that very often people take it for granted. So they are, they meditate now, later there's a muhurtha in the evening, it goes off. You look at these people, there are some good points. Even in the railway station, the time comes, they'll put a mat and go down. See? So we have to bring in a little bit. We are so free that we are doing nothing. But don't carry it to the extreme. Suppose somebody is dying and you go to attend to that person, that's not the time to meditate. You have to do something about that. On both sides, one shouldn't get too tight. Tiny.
In your first book, you mentioned the story about Jenny. So
You think there is somebody around here?
she got cured And then she went back to Philadelphia, and then she left the body. So
I can't do any such thing.
no, I'm not asking. But what was that it got her cured? Is the initiation or is it a Kriya?
What?
She got cured.
No, it's nothing to do with Kriya.
Initiation. She felt better than
Just she became better, we don't know.
she died of cardiac arrest.
She was not practicing anything. It's just, I think, the blessings. Now why I am saying this, some people might think Kriya is a cure for diseases. It's not. Maybe a cure for this abject materialism as a disease. Maybe. But if you practice, you can stay healthy. That's true. It has nothing to do with disease curing. In fact, I am very wary of all this modern New Age healing. It's mostly done for well-heeled people, the healing. The danger of this is that you depend on it, and then when you finally in the final stages, you don't take any medicines, then you have to be rushed to the ICU. To be religious is not to be an idiot. One has to be sensible, and you should have common sense, not fall into these traps. Like the Arabs say, you trust in God but tie your camels.
There is a lot of push towards the holistic medicine here. Towards the natural way of living.
Natural way of living is fine, but again it should not be carried to the extreme. When you are sick, you need a doctor. You know, the danger is that you keep trusting something is going to happen and nothing happens, the disease becomes worse. You haven't had any medical attention, and then when you are rushed to the ICU, no laying on of hands is of any use. Who is looking after the ICU? The Arafat. So there has to be some balance. Natural way of life is good. Eat good food, nature food, organic foods, great, wonderful. But also some common sense must be there in these matters. Otherwise one might be totally gone off in some direction and you don't know. When it ends, then you will realize it too late.
What is the importance of a guru? Or can you actually go without?
No. If you are on a spiritual trip, if you are on a spiritual journey, let's say journey, this trip becomes a little, you're largely walking on uncharted territory, unexplored territory. So it's a great help if you have someone who has walked. Yes. But the guide should not become more important than the teachings. Teachings are more important. We have this person who is a great spiritual being, so I consider him as my guru. And I live as I like. He will take me there. There are directions and things to do which you have to do. You have to obey the directions, understand the directions, and not just you worship this guy and nothing will happen. You understand? But it is important to have a guide. Suppose I'm outside and you come to me and ask me how to go to New York City. Now you don't ask because you have the GPS, but generally, suppose you don't have GPS, you ask. You expect me to know. Suppose I know. If I don't know and tell you how to go, it's the worst thing possible. Suppose I do know and I say do this, turn here, go straight and so on. Turn into this road. Now if you have to reach New York City, what would you do? You'll travel on the path, right? Or will you stay there and garland me, do arti, wash my feet? Will you reach there? Not possible. So what is important? Very often it happens the other way around. And unfortunately, the gurus expect you to do it. There is another problem. I don't allow people to wash my feet. I might be having a skin disease. And you might drink it and you will catch it.
I remember you protesting and cobbler's wife who had a dream that she's going to meet. But you gave her the opportunity to do so.
With the instruction that she won't drink it. These are all things which we have to be a little wary nowadays. You know? You have to do what is required to be done. You should have faith, that's a different matter, but not by simply worshipping.
Is meditation the only...
Good, there's someone else talking.
Meditation is the only sure short way to find the truth, or there are many ways which leads to finding the truth in different religions, practices. You get confused in this world, like which way to follow. If someone, like for me, I want to begin on my spiritual journey. I want to, but I don't have any seriously, yes. But I don't have any guru, and there are so many people like all respectable.
Shall I tell you something?
Yes.
It's better not to have a guru than suddenly end up with a fraud.
Yeah. That's the scare.
It's better not to have than to have some, you know what, I mean, I don't want to use the word again and again. So, I think personally that if you are very sincere in your efforts to touch that which is beyond and at the same time connected to you in the inner recesses of your heart, the core of your consciousness, if you are very sincere and serious about it, you should really cry for it sometimes.
But not commit suicide.
No.
That's like
Then it's ended, finished. So,
Not in the Alaknanda.
no, I didn't, but I thought, but I didn't.
Okay.
So, if you keep that in mind, and if you really crying for it from the depths of your heart, then I'm telling you, guarantee, that the person meant for you, proper person will come to you.
Yeah, they say when student is ready, the guru will appear.
Yeah, but be careful whether be with the person for a while and see if the person wants to give you something or does he want something from you. One thing. Point number 2 is whether the person is tranquil under all circumstances. It's very easy for half an hour or 1 hour to sit here and be tranquil. But in daily life, when you move about, watch. If these two things are there, and there is no demand from you, rather wants to give you something, then you can try to sort of nick. Say, help me out. Believe me, he can't eat for you. If somebody says, I will eat for you, or what? Nobody can eat for you. If you are hungry, you have to eat. So then, once you have done it and accepted it, then follow instructions.
Until then,
Until then,
keep crying.
I'm not joking. I'm seriously saying, when I say cry, doesn't mean that tears are coming in your eyes. I mean, it's like a great urge, strong urge to find. Some people are happy with the outward aspects of religion, okay? But some want to go a little deeper in. Unfortunately, this is Kali Yuga, no? So be a little bit careful. Don't sell yourself to anybody.
So far I have been protected that phase.
Good, I'm glad.
I practiced Buddhism for 9 years.
Huh.
I left it because I couldn't find some answers to my spiritual questions. I was very sincere. And I started walking on the path of yoga for the last 4 years. So things have started unfolding. I'm able to connect the dots.
Right, right.
But still I feel very restless sometimes whether I'm going on
That
the right path
restlessness is a good sign.
or
Restlessness is a good sign. It means you are serious and you want to find something. Don't allow that restlessness to go away.
How long do you bear it? How
Don't.
long should you keep bearing this restlessness?
No, you don't. You have to bear it a bit. When you bear it a bit, the solution will come from it. I'm telling you, you have the same problem. She had the same problem. I mean, similar. Are you known to each other? Now, good opportunity for satsang. You can talk to each other.
You just mentioned about satsang. That's very, very important to be in the company of like-minded people. But we are living in this
Absolutely.
place.
Absolutely.
It's very
if you
hard
don't
to
have a
find.
satsang, then you will have a dursang.
Yes.
Automatically. Because human beings are society oriented. They can't be isolated. Live in isolation. Few people can, not all. So, it's good to have someone whom you can discuss these matters, who has similar thoughts, so that you don't fall into the wrong company. Especially in this country. One has to be careful. But I can say one thing about this country. It's a huge country with a lot of greenery and trees and hills and dales and water bodies and whatnot. If you don't have to go to the forest, many houses are like in the forest. So, yeah, if you want, it's an ideal situation to improve yourself. And the other thing is, your neighbor won't bother what you're doing generally. In India, too, if you need 2 cars come in front, everybody is making inquiries. Kya ho raha hai? Going on? Chor not chap raha hai kya? Something like here nobody is curious. You are allowed to lead your life as you like. So there are good points everywhere. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sir, in your daily life, you do so much work. Morning to evening, you are involved in whatever be your profession, whatever be your housework. How can you be contemplative or have a spiritual path when you're doing the work? What is the way of making that a way of working? If I meditate in the morning and then the whole day I'm...
There's no point.
Yeah, so how am I going to put that in?
This is because normally we do our work without much interest in it, because we have to do it. If you're doing something which you're really interested in, you will see that work itself is great meditation. You have to kind of see this and see, like I know one person here in this group who loves cooking. When that person cooks, there is no other thought. Complete attention. You know it in the quality of the food that comes out. It's an actual person, okay? It's not, I'm not talking about an imaginary person, somebody sitting in this room. Completed. So that time, especially when that person is doing it as a dedication to somebody, with complete attention, making sure that everything is in its proper place, that becomes a kind of meditation, So that when that person sits down quietly to meditate, it's easy to pass from this stage to that. Otherwise, it's not so easy. All the day your mind is agitated, and 10 minutes can it stay quiet? Not easy. So therefore, what is the corollary to this? Find things which really interest you. And do it as a dedication to others, not only for yourself. If you can do that, then okay, there's one more way of doing it. Suppose you are seriously interested in, let's say, music, not the rapping music, which can only disturb your mind. You took my hat away, bring it back now. But if you are seriously interested in, say, classical music or something like that, where your mind flows, then that takes you on to meditation. If it doesn't take you on to meditation, it's of no use. If it takes you into better spiritual states, then it becomes a useful tool. For instance, I think according to Islam, I guess you are a Muslim. According to Islam, music in general is banned. I mean, in the sense that it's at par with, say, getting drunk, because it intoxicates and stimulates. However, there are Sufi orders all over the world who use the same music for constructive purposes. Like the Chishtiya order of Sufis in Ajmer. The whole origin of khawals come from them. So they have utilized what appears to be a distraction into something that makes it an attraction, to bring mind together, or minds together. Which is where all this kirtan bhajan come into the picture. Everybody is doing the same thing on and on. So these are some of the ways. Do you like gardening? Now when you do gardening, is your mind distracted? Mind only gets distracted when you have to always serve your husband. I understand. Not your husband. But other way around also, many times. But if you really do what you love to do, then your mind is not distracted. Nothing personal, okay?
You've spoken very little about Shirdi Saibaba. What was your purpose to, why did Babaji take you to meet him?
Because I think he is one of the great saints, greatly advanced beings who had come to this earth for doing some good work. And Babaji was keen that I should see him. And I don't see any other reason.
Do you know him from your past life?
Let's not discuss past life. Let's keep what is at present now and look at it carefully. But I still love Shirdi Saibaba. Have you seen what is written there? When you enter the shrine, on both sides, one is Shraddha, another is Saburi. Shraddha means complete attention, total attention. Some people translate it as faith. When you say faith, that means something which is not swayed by reason. Complete attention. And Saburi is patience. Without patience, especially on the spiritual field, there is no way out. You have to be, there is no way out. Patience is a great virtue. Saburi. Because you see, it's obvious, but people don't understand it. You plant a seed, does it become a tree overnight? So, it doesn't. It takes its own time, and different seeds take different time. And It depends also on the plowing and the soil. Sometimes it is useless to put a seed into useless soil. Fallow soil, it doesn't even sprout. It is better to save the seed. Then when it grows into a sapling, is it wise to pull it out every day and see if the roots have come? Patience is required. You have to leave it there. Patience is required. So, if a person can say that this is the essence of your spiritual life, it cannot come from somebody else. It has to come from a genuine person. If one is not genuine in this world, one is always offered shortcuts. You do this. Of course, you pay me $5,000, then do this. It's a different story, but anyway.
Can you talk a bit about your experience with Mahavtar Babaji? How easy it is?
Shall I tell you one thing? Whatever I know is there in the book. I read it. Apart from that, I personally and my Guru Mahavtar Babaji we don't believe that this is a being like what we normally know. I wouldn't say a person, I would say a being. There are many kinds of beings on this earth, not only humans, and other beings. So this is a being, it's not somebody born from a human womb. Nobody can stay beyond a certain period in a physical body if you are born in a human womb. It's not possible. So consider him as a being who is there for a specific purpose of bringing about a spiritual change. Okay? And because he's not like us, there are some features which when you see you get dazzled. And this is something about which it has been mentioned in all the major religions of the world. Not in the name of Sri Guru Babaji, but as something. Among the Sufis, they consider some being called Khidr, who is always there, trying to lead people into spiritual path. So this is something like that, similar. So it's difficult, I can't describe or explain more than that. So therefore when people say, oh, he was born in Sri Lanka, he was born in Kerala, he was born in Tamil Nadu, it's nonsense. He's not a person who is born from womb. It's a being. If there are nature spirits, like there are fire spirits, in the same way, this is a being who is there for a special purpose. And where it is required, it gives you help. And in different forms, in different ways. We have a standardized opinion of Sri Guru. Long hair.
Long hair,
But
Badmasa.
that's only what somebody saw.
Even
It could be anything.
Yogananda's book here has been mentioned as the same.
Recently, a young American girl came to meditate in Madanapalli, was mistaken for Babaji. Because she is very fair and good looking. In all the pictures you find of Babaji, you find him clean, no hair, and she had long hair, brownish. So she was sitting inside and meditating in Madanapalli, the room, and outside there is another hall. So some gentleman came and started doing some pranayam very loudly. Like that. It's not done like that. Making a lot of noise. This poor girl sitting inside and meditating, she started laughing because of that sound. This guy thought, aha, Babaji is laughing. So, see what I'm saying? Have common sense. So he started saying, Swami, Swami, Swami. And he went there. And He pushed the door open and looked and said, Swami. So she laughed more. She couldn't understand what was going on. She stood up, then he realized, oh, it's a lady. Okay. Thank God he didn't say it's Babaji's sister. All these things happen. Be very careful.
How important it is to read the scriptures to help you in your spiritual journey?
I think it's important to read. But there are people who haven't read anything and who are still being spiritual.
Yes.
Yeah, so not necessary that you should read, but it's good to read because most people need a guideline. You can't just say, oh, everything is okay. Somebody wrote an autobiography called Nothing Ever Happened. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever happened, what was he doing there? So, so it's a good idea to read. But if you are interested in subjects like meditation and so on, then it's good to read those texts which deal with it in some way, like the Upanishads, Gita, or Vedanta, or such texts. There's no point in reading the Puranas.
But it's difficult to understand. Sometimes you have to read it.
So I have made it as simple as possible. See, one of the reasons why Babaji told me to teach the Upanishad, he said simplify it because people have the same idea. Oh, it's actually straightforward and very simple. In fact, I've already written about 6 Upanishads. 3, then again 3. Go through them because they deal with the truth. They don't deal with anything else directly. They don't say what you should do or what you should not do. They say how to find it in the midst of all this tumult. So, also sometimes read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali.
Yeah, I do read.
Is it true that the more you read, the more thoughts you have, the more confused
That
you
is
get?
also there. We had a gentleman here some time back. For everything he had something to say. First he said something, then he said something, so I said, what do you say now? So sometimes too much of this knowledge can be distraction rather than... So when you read, you should read as if you're trying to understand something, not to fill your brain with stuff, not to quote when required. To bring an understanding, it's okay. But then this happens, that too much of input from different sides, then you get so confused. And much of the knowledge that goes in is undigested. You know what happens when there is undigested food in the tummy? Loose motions. And it comes in the form of talk. Unending talk.
Verbal diarrhea.
Verbal diarrhea. That's why sometimes I keep quiet. I'm wondering, am I talking too much?
It's like I read, I understand, and when I go to the next topic, I forget.
That's
what I
okay.
read.
It's better. Don't store it in your brain.
Yeah, I thought there's something wrong with my mind. 9 years I have read the Buddhism text and now I don't remember anything.
I'm glad.
Like the essence I have.
That's wonderful. You don't have to. You're not going to quote. So don't worry about it. The moment somebody starts quoting, you can be sure he's not sure. The sun rises in the morning, no? And sets in the evening. We all can see it. Do you have to say that it is written in such and such a book that the sun rises and sets? That means you are not sure.
That's okay.
It's okay. Let it go. Understand the essence and let the extra go. It's better that way. Keep flowing. How many years did you... What kind of Buddhism did you go? I'm very curious.
think most of the people maybe know. It's Mahayana Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah, so we chant and
That is not Mahayana.
That's Mahayana, they say
It's a Chinese chant. which we do.
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah.
So it must be Japanese Mahayana. The Tibetan Mahayanis don't chant.
Yeah, that's not the
That's all. Anything else? Nothing. Only chanting.
Only chanting and then study of the Lotus Sutra.
Lotus Sutra and
Yeah, Lotus Sutra and the guidance from the
so
organization.
they follow only the Lotus Sutra.
And then there was
In fact, we
teachings
don't know what things Buddha said actually. In those days there were no videos, no tape recorders. Said something, it has come down to us, so many people wrote down, so we accept and okay.
Through Vipassana, we do experience what possibly was trying to, he must have tried to say. Vipassana meditation.
The meaning of the word Vipassana is awareness. Awareness. So if we talked about awareness, then it's okay. I mean, you have to be aware. We should be aware of ourselves first. We should be aware of the world. And we should be aware of the connection between the two. Vipassana, people think Vipassana means awareness of the breath. It's not just the breath, it's awareness of every single thing that happens in our system. Do you also have
I've done that. I practiced it for some time.
what Vipassana?
Yes.
And
Didn't like it. Problem with me is inconsistency.
very good, I'm glad. Too much consistency is terrible.
I don't know.
Sometimes one should be inconsistent. There's no harm. Nature is not always consistent.
It's not good.
Why?
To get the results, we need to be consistent with, especially in the spiritual journey. Discipline. Now, they say like in yoga, follow yama niyama, so discipline is the important thing. They say you have to do it every day, nirantarya.
Nirantariya abhyasena.
Yes.
Regular practice. Good. Federico is very consistent.
With what?
That I don't know.
Sometimes we meet some person in our life for a very short period, but the bond develops so stronger, like something we get like some pull, and we are not able to figure out why all of a sudden we have such pull towards that particular human being. Is that something has to be some in past life if we have met that? Is there a reason behind?
Could be. Or could be also because that person is thinking along the same lines as you are. Could also be because he is good looking and is attractive. There could be many reasons for that. And one would be attracted also towards a person who listens more than talks. Because nowadays everybody is talking, nobody is listening.
That's true.
You know? So that also could attract you towards somebody. So there may be multiple reasons. It could be also what you said. You can't say, if I don't see that person, I can't say exactly what it is all about. But I think there are multiple reasons why we are attracted.
So everybody is sitting in this room today and we have this golden opportunity to meet you.
So are you attracted to?
Was this, I don't know how to put it, was this the divine's will, the divine's intervention, or was it this time?
There are two ways of looking at it, okay? Let's not say what it is right now. One is that everything is It happens that we all have to be here. That's one way of looking at it. The other is it's just an accident of fate that we are here. A chance, world that we are here. Could be either. But that is not important. The importance is not the why of it, but the actual fact of it, which is that we are together. And we seem to be clicking, and there's something on. That is more important than the cause. Very often it's very difficult to discover the cause. And those who have found the cause find it difficult to communicate it. This Buddha had a beautiful story. He said, somebody went to a mango grove to pluck a mango. The arrow, somebody shot an arrow and it hit him. It's pain. Now, what is the wise thing to do? What is the common sense action to take here? To pull out the arrow first and get rid of the pain? Or allow the arrow to be here and try to find out who sent the arrow? Where has it come from? What is the source of this arrow? Because by the time you figure it out, you'll be dead. You will get what is called tetanus or something. So, Buddha said, the first thing is this pain that we have. Get rid of it first. When you get rid of it, you will probably have a chance to figure out where it came from. He also said, those who have found out where it came from are usually left speechless. They can't say where it came from. To others. Understand what I'm saying? So even though Rishi in the Upanishad said, no vidmo, no vijhanimo, yathaitattam, I don't understand how to teach this to you. Because it's so overwhelming for me, myself. I don't know what to say. It means to be speechless. We are trying to find out that which is infinite. And what are we using? Our finite brain as an instrument. Is this possible? At least have we to accept that it is not possible. Using our usual thought processes and our finite brains, is it possible to touch that which is infinite? If you can, then it ceases to be infinite. It has to be large, finite. First, we have to understand this. Which means questions will be many, answers will be many. More questions, more answers, because our finite brain is trying to figure out that which is infinite. When you realize that this is of no use, this is not going to work, but for intellectuals it's better to exert a little before accepting it. They say, oh, I should have thought. So, when you accept it, then the mind says, let me calm down. It is not helpful. Let me calm down. Be quiet. The more I keep out of here, the better chance for me to perhaps that to be. And you can call it whatever you want to call it. Supreme Being, Divine. You can call it Allah, you can call it God, you can call it Brahma. You can even, like the Buddhists say, call it Shunya. Doesn't matter. Now please understand, the word Shunya doesn't mean nothing. People have this wrong conception. Shunya is nothing, no. If Shunya is nothing, how is it defined as that from which everything came and that into which everything goes? Then it can't be nothing. In the Chandogya Upanishad, Rishi comes, he asks his son, who has gone to study with another teacher, have you found the truth? And the boy says, I think I have found it. He says, if you think you have found it, I don't think you have found it. You cannot think. You can find or not find. He didn't say that, I am just explaining it. He says, you see that seed of the banyan tree there? Yeah, bring it here. He says, what do you see? I see the seed of the banyan tree. Peel it. He says, he peels the skin. What do you see now? I see the kernel. Kernel, K-E-R-N, kernel. And okay, he says, peel it. So he peels it. Now what do you see? I see small, tiny seeds there. Okay. Now peel the seed, break the seed. Now what do you see? He says, I see nothing. Shunya. It's not nothing. Then the father says to the son, it is from what you call this nothing that this whole banyan tree has come. It is nothing because I can't see it. It is the essence of everything. This whole thing has come from that and to which it will go back. Right? So, when the mind, in some cases, after the mind has thought and got tired, settles down, then perhaps something is happening. Till the time we try to define it through our thought processes, we can define and be happy with our definition, but they'll break after some time. So the key is, settle down. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. It's 12 o'clock, but I want to tell you a small story from Brahma Maharshi. I'm very fond of the story. You know, a very great scholar, well known in his times, called Ganpati Shastri, had studied everything that he could in his scriptures, like Vedas, Upanishads, Gita, Vedanta, Sri Vidya, Tantra, everything. And yet he was finding that there was some barrier between, some barrier that separated him from what he was looking for. After all this, he didn't realize what the barrier was at that time, but he was. So somebody told him that there is a person sitting up near Skandashram, doesn't usually talk, go there. Maybe you will find a solution. So he went and he sat there for a long time. The Maharshi, you won't have seen any picture of Ramana Maharshi with his eyes closed, always open. There is no need to go inside or outside. So he saw him sitting with his eyes unfocused, and then suddenly he looked at him. And then he did this. Which means, what? Why have you come? That Kaiser is coming.
Yeah.
Why have you come? He started off. He was waiting for the cue. All he did, I did that, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did Sri Vidya. 15 minutes verbal diarrhea. End of it, he said, now what more, what should I do now? And Maharshi smiled and said in Tamil, can you just shut up? Just keep quiet. Keep quiet for a minute. Because you're too much caught up in this quietness, when you have understood the limitations of all the knowledge that you have gathered. And it's merely structures. What we are seeking is beyond all structures. And definitions. And then in that it's possible that you never know when it happens, but it happens sometimes. Once it happens, you know it has happened. Nobody needs to prove it already. Say, oh, it's like this. And you don't need to prove it to anybody either.
Is it a progression or is it an instant? Is it a progression or is it an instant?
I say, alright.
Or an instant, it happens in an instant, or it's a
I
progression.
think once it happens one instant, then it may not be there always, then gradually it will become permanent. One time it has to take place. What I'm saying is not a big bang, it's several bangs. But one bang has to happen first, that you have to get out of this process of trying to figure out. Now we have to stop. It's 5 past. Thank you for coming.